Hi there, everyone. I'm Stephanie Haney, legal analyst for 3 News, here to talk about the big story today, Bill Cosby being released from state prison in Pennsylvania. This is because of a ruling from the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. Now, there's a little bit of confusion about what's going on, so we're going to break down what's happening from a legal perspective. Bill Cosby was not released today because the court found that he didn't do what he was accused of doing. He was released today because the court found that his protection against self-incrimination was denied to him. Here's what happened. The court said that a prosecutor's decision not to charge Cosby back when it was first learned that he was being accused of these crimes opened the door for him to speak in a lawsuit against him, and that testimony was key in this conviction years later by another prosecutor. It was in 2018 when Cosby was convicted of drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand based on events that happened in 2004. Again, this ruling doesn't say that he didn't commit the crime, only that it was improper that he was ever charged, and the evidence that was used against him was not admissible evidence. Montgomery County District Attorney Kevin Steele pointed out this is a procedural issue, and yes, it is a procedural issue. Here's a quote from Kevin Steele. He was found guilty by a jury and now goes free on a procedural issue that is irrelevant to the facts of the crime. It is true that he will now be freed on a procedural issue. There's debate about whether it's irrelevant to the facts of the crime because process is required, due process is required in a court of law in order to take away someone's liberty. Steele went on to say, I want to commend Cosby's victim, Andrea Constand, for her bravery in coming forward and remaining steadfast throughout this long ordeal, as well as all of the other women who have shared similar experiences. My hope is that this decision will not dampen the reporting of sexual assaults by victims. Constand came forward and testified that Cosby assaulted her at his home in Pennsylvania in 2004 after she came to him for career advice. Now, back near the time that happened, Bruce Castor was the Montgomery District Attorney, and he declined to press charges against Cosby. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania today said that thereby allowed Cosby to be forced to testify in a subsequent civil action, not a criminal action, and unable to invoke any right not to testify in the civil proceedings, Cosby relied upon the district attorney's declination and proceeded to provide 4 sworn depositions. During those depositions, Cosby made several incriminating statements. This is according to the court's opinion in Pennsylvania today. D.A. Castor's successors did not feel bound by his decision and decided to prosecute Cosby, notwithstanding that prior undertaking. Here's the part that's crucial to this decision today. The fruits of Cosby's reliance upon D.A. Castor's decision, Cosby's sworn inculpatory testimony, were then used by D.A. Castor's successors against Cosby at Cosby's criminal trial. And what the court is saying today is that that evidence was not admissible because Cosby was denied his protection against self-incrimination because he was acting on reliance of the former District Attorney Casper, who had said that he would not be prosecuting Cosby for those crimes. And in order to invoke the Fifth Amendment constitutional privilege against self-incrimination, there has to be a threat of incriminating yourself. And at that time, because the prosecutor had said he would not be moving forward with those charges against Cosby, there was no stance under which he could invoke that right. And therefore, that is why his depositions were required, and that is why the court today is holding that that testimony was not admissible. Now, in a jailhouse interview in 2019, Cosby said that he wouldn't offer any remorse for his actions, even if it would have affected a parole board's decision. Here's a quote from Cosby that he told news outlet blackpressusa.com. He said, when I come up for parole, they're not going to hear me say that I have remorse. I was there. I don't care what group of people come along and talk about this. When they weren't there, they don't know. Now, Cosby, before being freed today, was serving a 3 to 10 year sentence for the sexual assault and drugging of Andrea Constand, whose name we are using because she has come forward and identified herself. Cosby has served 2 years of that sentence. His spokesperson, Andrew Wyatt, who is the person who traveled to prison to get Cosby today, said that they want to thank the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. He said he was given a deal, he had immunity, he should have never been charged. The state Supreme Court said Cosby cannot be retried on the same charges, and with that, they effectively upheld Castor's promise to Cosby. And that is why Bill Cosby has been released from prison today. This is Stephanie Haney, legal analyst for 3 News.